Hey cats, it's your Midsole man, Eddbud, back again with another shoe review for you. This time taking a look at the higher drop Saucony Triumph 23. This is a very popular model that Saucony have had within their shoe lineup. It's seen many changes over the last few years though. It's now a more max cushion shoe, but one for those who like that 10mm drop. Does this version though improve over last year's, which wasn't my favourite? Let's find out. Thanks for tuning in, people, always appreciated. If you're yet to do so, help the channel out by hitting that subscribe button, but also giving this video a thumbs up like, and drop us a comment to help with that YouTube algorithm. Dankeschön. The Saucony Triumph 23 here in hand. This is a shoe Saucony have sent to me for review, but as usual they're not getting a chance to vet my views before my valued viewers get to see them. I've got approximately 42mm of heel stack and about 32mm up front. I review shoes in a UK 11 or US 12, not the sample size, so it's very common for me to have a little bit extra heel stack back there. Shoes scale with the shoe size, okay? You can imagine if they didn't, you'd have a very long and somewhat flat shoe, I suppose. I'm getting a short A durometer score of approximately 24 across this PWRRUN PB midsole here in the Triumph 23. I think you do need to note though, there's quite a thick paint layer across this midsole, which you don't get on the Endorphin series, so I think it's probably a little bit softer than that actually underfoot. Now weight wise, the last version of this shoe is about 339 grams or 12 ounces. The Triumph 23 is 318 grams or about 11.2 ounces, so you've lost almost an ounce of weight here, which is quite noticeable on foot. That is very promising to see. We're getting back to sort of like Triumph 21 weight, which is great. One talking point about this shoe is a very thick insole that Saucony have included. I've measured it, it's about 6mm in terms of how deep it is, so it's a little bit more present underfoot than some other shoes. Outsole rubber is tough. It's about short A70, which is pretty much what I got in the last version. A slightly more robust material on average. Widest point in the forefoot, I've got 13.2 centimeters and 10.8 in the heel, so it is a bit of a wide shoe, certainly a little bit wider than the last two versions. Upper wise, we certainly have a thicker mesh here than we had on the Triumph 21, though thankfully a little bit less present on foot than the 22. That had a very sort of thick, dense upper. We still have some of that here, and I'd suggest it is one of those shoes that's either going to work in your climate or not. If you're in a very warm climate, it might be a little bit too much padding around the foot. I think at this time of the year it's quite hard to measure really. Everyone picks like the Evo SL, don't they? But that shoe's not going to be that great when it comes to wet and windy winter weather. If you like your daily runners to be soft and comfortable, then there's spades of that here in the 23. Simple thinner logos on the lateral side of the upper and some further overlays around the heel provide a little bit more structure here than some of Saucony's other kind of less cushioned shoes. There's quite a significant heel counter here, and the flare's very similar to the one that's included in the Speed 5, and a proper heel counter as well. It does reach round quite a way actually into the sort of midfoot. Toe box height's very good. There's enough there for it to be, you know, not overly generous. This isn't one of those very wide and sort of cavernous like uppers. I think the last one was just a bit too much for me really. I've got a sort of normal to narrow foot, but the Triumph 23 is a little bit more in the ballpark. So I think most people will be able to get a good fit here due to that lacing system. It's quite simple. I mean, it's humid, it's merciless at the moment here in the UK when you're running any time of day. Did find my feet getting a little bit warmer here. I think that's partly down to the tongue. It is quite padded and thick. There's also partial gusseting on that to keep it central on top of the foot. The softer rope laces here are great in terms of length, but I just feel both them and the tongue are a little bit of overkill. Do we really need all this sort of plushness? Is this like a daily trainer, or is it like a sort of easy sort of long run or recovery shoe? I think it falls somewhere in between there in terms of the upper. So not the bulkiest out there, a functional upper, but could lose a little bit of weight here and there to make it comparable to some other maximal daily shoes. I'll give it a 2.6 out of 3 so far. Midsole.
midsole now.
So the sample size is apparently 37mm in the heel and 27 up front. I've got closer to like 40mm in the heel and 30 up front. This kind of makes this shoe a bit like Saucony's Invincible Run, I suppose. If you're after an extremely cushioned and very resilient option, then I think this is spot on. It isn't anywhere near as unstable as the Invincible Run can be. I mean, if impact protection's where you're at and you want a nice wide base to the midsole, then it's spot on for you. The PWRRUN PB based midsole's always been a bit denser than some of the other super shoe midsole materials, but it's got exceptional durability and longevity to it. As I said, part of the stack is made up of that thicker insole. It's quite a strange situation there, really. The insole's actually a touch more responsive than the PWRRUN PB. Maybe that is why they've included it, so it just returns to form a bit quicker. It's like a touch more compressive than the foam itself. The tailmail drop wasn't as apparent to me here in this version of the shoe as per the Triumph 22. And measurement wise it's the same, but for some reason it just seems to stay out of the way of my form a little bit more than the 22. Just feels a little bit more nimble on foot this time round, perhaps due to the reduction in terms of the upper materials. Much more at home now in a daily trainer type use, easier paces, recovery type miles, and a shoe that's perhaps also usable from a lifestyle perspective if you're on your feet hour after hour at your workplace. I think part of the difference here is down to that slightly more beveled heel that we've got. It's a bit more of a rocker feel to the 23. Not quite as drastic of an angle in terms of cutoff as we had in the 22. So it's a little bit closer to the 21 if my memory serves me correctly. Quite a different ride though to the lighter construction of the Endorphin Speed 5 and that nylon plate that it's got in the midsole. The Triumph 23 more at home with slower tempos and perhaps for longer, easier pace running than the likes of the Endorphin Speed. So good reliable cushion here in the Triumph 23. I think perhaps though it is intended for a heavier built runner than my stick thin frame. I'm just sort of impacting on the surface very slightly. A bit like an acorn dropping onto a mattress. I'll give it a 2.6 out of 3 for the midsole. Outsole wise, there's a solid amount of rubber here, certainly going to be more durable, and there's lots of it stretching back into the heel. These sort of arrow shapes all sort of join up at a central point, and there's some good flex to the sort of mid to forefoot area. I reckon there's some good multi-surface traction here. I've tried out a few trail shoes that in fact aren't as aggressive as this one. Some of the multiple ridges in the heel do mean that grit can build up back there, though the rest of the outsole's pretty immune to that. Grip was good on some recently rained on concrete and road. That is kind of like the nemesis really of certain running shoes, but I think it's down to that sort of extensive surface area we've got here in the forefoot. There is though lots of exposed midsole foam around this area of the shoe. I mean, that's eventually going to take a bit of a pounding. There's quite a thick paint layer here. How long that will hold up, I just wouldn't like to say. So a tank type tread built for miles. I can see folks getting loads of use out of the thicker, more liberally applied rubber here. Give it a 2.6 out of 3. It's kind of an improvement all round really over the 22 in pretty much every area. I think they've kept the price of the shoe round about the same in terms of value. It's a little bit more expensive than some other models out there at the moment though. I guess your closest competitor might be the Magnifying Nitro 3 from Puma. That's got like a 40mm stack now on the sample size, and it's only 139 notes, so quite the price drop over the Triumph. Both shoes coming in at round about the same weight as well in the sample size. Though I am pleased to see the Triumph dropping down in weight here. It's quite considerable in fact over the 22. Hopefully it'll bring back a few fans to this model. I think it's got a bit more to offer now. The last iteration was just a little bit too much shoe on foot for me. So good quality overall out the box as usual with Saucony. No glue seepage or misaligned parts here in the 23. Just feels a bit more like a premium shoe, though of course that price is slowly creeping up to be a premium price. I remember getting the Triumph 17. That was like back in 2019 maybe. I think that shoe was like 140 quid, so it's been quite a steep increase over the last few years. I think you're getting a better shoe here though for your money than the 22. It's actually better for me in all areas. I'll give it a 2.6 out of 3 for value so far. If I've totaled the scores up correctly for the Triumph 23, we got a 10.4 out of 12. Are you a fan of the Triumph series from Saucony? Is this one going to pull you back to the model, perhaps if you didn't enjoy the last one? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. A quick musical interlude for you. I know Mac DeMarco dropped a new track the other day from his forthcoming album called Guitar. I've been dipping back into his back catalogue and I really love This Old Dog. What a fantastic album. A track called Moonlight on the River, which ends the album, is my favourite though. It's got that perfect balance between calm, subtle, natural kind of sounds and that weird kind of otherworldly vibe that Mac DeMarco sometimes puts into his tunes. A little bit sinister almost. Moonlight on the River, it kind of gives you an idea Mac DeMarco's kind of sat there looking out on the river late at night. Maybe there's weird thoughts going through his head or something. All of his productions have that wonderful sort of graininess to them. Just makes it sound real, like the guy could have recorded it yesterday, although I think it's about 8 years old now. Go and check it out, Moonlight on the River by Mac DeMarco. Thanks for tuning in, people, always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a comment as well to help that YouTube algorithm. When you pick up some merch, or perhaps even give us a super thanks if you want to support the channel on a more ad hoc basis. My name's Eddbud, and I'll be seeing you